It's Tuesday, March the 19th, and I'm here with my fabulous replacement co-host, Daniel Katz. Daniel?
Hugh.
It's good, always.
I'm a replacement co-host. Thank you.
Well, because
it's
Sandra's
good that
not
the
here.
world knows out there that I'm a replacement
Well,
co-host.
I just want them. Oops. I just want them to know because Sandra's not here.
Yeah,
People who are expecting Sandra
right.
are going, "Who's that guy?"
Yeah.
Except for the people that know you already from your fabulous show, which is all about watches.
Well, not about watches, but
recently.
Yes, recently I'm a little bit addicted to wristwatches, but and dry martinis. Yes, dry martinis.
Really? Are you
yes,
addicted?
It was
Really?
it was my birthday, but I just want to say that I had dreams about being welcomed as the co-host, and it was slightly shattered that I got announced as
I'm
the
sorry,
replacement
Dan.
co-host.
I'm sorry. You know, I'm already really enjoying the show, doing the show with
okay.
you.
That
right?
I'm slightly exaggerating because I'm not, folks. I'm not planning to draw lawsuits or be all furious and throw dishes or anything. I'm just having a little fun here. So.
You know, I almost thought, you know, and since you were coming down to host today, that of getting Stella to come on.
Yes.
As your, like, you two. Because I really think that you and Stella do a fabulous job.
We do? Do we get along? I guess we do.
Well, you get along in a way that I find entertaining.
Oh, okay. That's it. She bumped into me at a restaurant with a friend. It was quite
Really?
nice, yeah. And we exchanged quick hellos. So that was, hopefully I didn't interrupt the friend because she was with the friend at her table. I came over to the table.
I'm sure
to say
she's always game for some social conversation.
And dry martini, it was my birthday. And that's why I had a dry martini at a restaurant.
You know, I was weaned on dry martinis.
Were you?
Yeah.
Ever since you were, how old?
13.
13. We can ask our next guests about the benefits of dry martini, maybe, to go along with the food, perhaps.
We can.
Yeah.
Well, before we do that, we should. Is there anything you want to just get off your chest before we get into the meat and potatoes of the show?
Get off my chest. Just that I hope that things get sorted out at City Hall.
Why? What's going on down there?
Well, everyone's, they're trying to bash the mayor, and the mayor's retaliating. And
are you a big supporter of Mayor Ford?
No, not really. Just a waste of news coverage. That's all.
Yeah.
And,
well, I want to find out what really happened to Sarah Thompson.
Oh yes, Sarah Thompson with she wears a what kind of hairstyle? Sarah Thompson.
She's got the dreadlocks.
Dreadlocks, yeah. She's not from the Caribbean or anything. She just
she's from Hamilton.
She's from Hamilton,
which is kind of close.
Okay. I didn't know that. This is
you didn't know she's from Hamilton?
No, I didn't know that Hamilton's close to the Caribbean.
It's closer than Toronto.
Oh, okay.
By about this much.
Okay.
This much.
That's a good point. So I guess you want to announce to the world.
Who's coming on the show today? Yeah. Okay, that's a great idea. Well, we have Michelle from YPT. What's YPT stand for again?
Young People's Theater.
No, it's not. Oh. And it may not even be YPT.
Oh.
But anyway, it's TYP.
Oh, okay.
Right letters, wrong order. Okay. TYP, they're involved at the University of Toronto, helping kids that have dropped out of high school get back into the university track. And they got an event coming up. We're going to talk to them about that. Also, Joe the Investor's coming on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting thing, the fiscal cliff, of course, in the U.S. Joe is all about how to manage your money properly. And I heard from a little bird, from an actual mad scientist,
right.
Daniel.
Yeah.
An actual mad scientist.
Right, you did.
April 23rd is the date to watch.
It is.
April 23rd.
Okay.
That may be the date we fall off the financial or the fiscal cliff.
There's always these dates. Remember what happened with all?
Remember that
we're going to close down so many years ago.
Yeah. And plus, remember a couple years ago we had that UFO that was going to appear over Alabama.
Okay.
It never happened.
And then the Mayan calendar.
The Mayan calendar,
Mayan calendar. Excuse me. Thanks for the correction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have Johnny Smash coming in with a whole posse today. Shay Grant is coming on. I think Rasta Youth is coming on the show. We're going to be talking about black on black violence because Johnny Smash is concerned about the problem, and he's doing something about it. And we're going to have a big panel discussion about that towards the end of the show.
Okay.
But we're going to start the show off with Alexi Bracey, who is a raw food specialist, right, Alexi? Yeah. And she brought some fabulous goodies here, so we're looking forward to trying that in a minute. But so while we get ready for Alexi, let's play a video. Now, Dan, I don't know if you heard about this, but apparently, we all have two-strand DNA right now. Well, those of us who have DNA.
Right. And we won't talk about the ones that don't. Not right now.
It's better not
Unless
to
you
talk
want to
about
discuss The Fringe, the TV show The Fringe. But we don't have time for that now. Yeah, well, I hope I do. I do RNA, DNA, yeah.
Okay, I don't know about the RNA, okay, but the DNA, we have two-strand. Apparently, some people are saying, well, we're going to watch this video.
Okay.
There's stuff happening in the solar system, in the universe, that is this could be the evolutionary leap. It may not happen in the gradual way that Darwin said. It may just happen in a big burst, and that may be happening now. So we're going to watch this video. I know you're thrilled.
No, that was just an honest yawn. That was nothing to do with
I know. It's one of those days. So let's watch this. It's video number 1. And we're going to come back with Alexi Bracey as Liquid Lunch gets underway on a Tuesday. We'll be right back.
think it's like grass growing though. The DNA's change has been the last 24 hours, and it's changed a little bit after the first time I met you when we came for the show.
You know, I actually hear they have green grass on Earth.
Oh, okay.
If you can believe that.
All right.
Okay. Well, we're here with our first guest of the day, Alexi Bracey's joining us. And Alexi, great to have you back on the show.
Thank you.
And I know every time you come here, you bring us some fabulous raw food, which I keep hearing about how good it is that you go on a raw food diet. And yet I find myself eating, roast beef and hamburgers and all that good stuff. So, but you're going to tell us why we should really consider a raw food diet, right?
That is right.
We were talking a little bit about pets, because I just saw yesterday an article where somebody's like healing their pets with raw food as well.
Absolutely. As soon as I have my blender going, my dogs come running because I have some of my green smoothie.
Wow. Okay. Which we can see it a little bit. We have some green smoothie here, and you've got a book coming out, right?
Yes, I do.
And let's just talk about it, because I sense that we're going to get into that whole topic about, because there's a lot of people out there facing, as we know, it's an epidemic now, diabetes, right?
That is right.
And so you've written a book. Do you want to just tell us briefly about the book?
The book is called Lasting Diabesity, Transitioning to a Raw Food Lifestyle to Get Your Life Back. And it has raw food recipes and corresponding cooked food recipes, so you can sort of easily transition. And whether it's a raw food diet or a cooked food diet, vegan, vegetarian is definitely the way to go.
Okay. Now, I've heard that too, of course. And by the way, I'm looking at all this fabulous food and dying to get in there. But I've heard, a lot of people have heard about how good raw food really is. But maybe you can just sort of give us a quick rundown of some of the major benefits. I mean, I've had friends that have gone on a raw food diet and they felt fantastic, and then they relapsed back into a regular diet. But can you tell us a little bit of what the major benefits?
Well, number one, raw food has enzymes in it, which is enzymes are cooked anytime you apply heat to your raw food, whether it's cooked, sautéed, broiled, barbecued, simmered, anything kills enzymes. And it's the enzymes that are the carriers that help break down the food so it can transport nutrition to all parts of your body. Mm-hmm. It's living food. For example, what does a horse, a gorilla, a giraffe, a hippopotamus have in common?
They don't eat meat.
They're big.
They're vegetarians, but they're also the strongest animals on the planet. So in North America, we have this obsession of where you're going to get your protein.
I know.
You can get your protein from plant-based sources that is a lot easier to digest and healthier for you.
I heard that a long time ago, and I've been telling people that. I say, you look at the cow, look how big it is. And it doesn't eat any protein. It just eats grass.
Would you eat your dog? It's
not
the same
my
thing.
dog.
Well, no, I know, but the point is, people, if you don't see a face to it, you don't associate that it's an animal. Like
right.
I think if we bought chickens in our grocery store with the head and the feet still attached to it, like you do in Asian stores, people would think twice.
That's right. Yeah, and I've heard that. You don't eat anything that has a face.
That's right.
Right?
Nothing with eyes.
Well, that's a good point. Although in the old days, if you recall, which may be coming back, you'd have to kill the chicken yourself.
True, but the chickens weren't force-fed. They weren't given antibiotics. They weren't in coops with their beaks cut off because they're very territorial.
Yeah.
It was like old MacDonald's farm.
Yeah.
We don't have that today.
No. I want to go back to those days, though. Do you want to be on a farm, Dan?
Well,
kill chickens?
Well, we can interview someone who deals with time machines and see if we can get into that other place.
That could be coming up later in the show.
Oh, I see. Okay, fine.
Okay.
Right.
All right, Alexi. So now what about diabetes? Let's talk about that specifically, right? Because so many people are dealing with it. They think they have to take insulin, and there's no way to beat it.
Well, it depends if you have type 1 or type 2. Type 1, you do need insulin, but on a raw food program, you can significantly decrease the amount of insulin you take. On a type 2, diabetes definitely can be controlled through diet and eliminated through diet. There is a 30-day program out by a Dr. Gabriel Cousins where you can eliminate diabetes in 30 days. And I have worked with clients where within 1 week their blood sugar was down to normal. Today, 1 in 4 children have diabetes, 1 in 4 newborns have diabetes, and 50% of the American population over 65 years old are diabetics, and a lot of them don't even realize it.
Now, was it always this way?
No, it's all related to diet.
So what has happened that
Well, we've gotten away from natural diet, from fruits and vegetables, and we're all into fast food. You know, the pizzas and the processed and stuff that's not so good for you.
right?
And
Yeah.
sugar.
Yeah.
Sugar is considered the cocaine of our century.
Okay.
There's a book out called The Sugar Blues. I forgot who it was, but my nutritionist had me go on to that. But it goes into what you were talking about. There's a whole history. There was countries fighting over
Yeah,
sugar.
there's
and the
sugar
whole
in
thing.
everything. Did you know that there is more sugar in 2 slices of whole wheat bread than 2 Oreo cookies?
It's what a great reason to switch to Oreo cookies.
That's a fast one. That's good too. Yes.
Okay, Alexi. So the book, Blasting Diabesity, I mean, obviously anybody trying to cope with diabetes, but I mean, what's the essence of the book that's different than you can find in any of the other information out there?
On the left side of the page, you'll have a raw lentil recipe, and on the right-hand side, you'll have a cooked lentil recipe. Then when you go into soups, you'll have a raw, say, squash soup, and on the right-hand side of the page, you'll have a cooked squash soup. So you can gradually transition from raw into cooked, or the cooked is definitely plant-based, it's vegan, vegetarian. So I'm just emphasizing to stay away from an animal-based diet. So no fins, feathers, or fur.
No fins, feather, or fur, Dan.
I'll stay away from the fur.
Actually,
no, seriously.
Actually, the most toxic flesh protein on the planet today is fish.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
some people have a real trouble wrapping their head around the idea of not eating cooked food. Can you just talk a little bit about that?
Well, you don't have to do 100% raw. I mean, for example, start with a green smoothie for breakfast.
Okay, let's look at some of this stuff now as you're...
Okay, think of
Absolutely.
Popeye, green.
Yes, it looks really good.
The more green, the healthier for you.
No, it doesn't look green on the screen because we have to compensate for the color green because of the city in the background. But that's a really nice, deep, rich green color that we have here.
That's right.
So what is that?
Well,
What's in that?
there is a banana in it, which is a filler. There's blueberries as an antioxidant. I've got maca, which helps regulate thyroid. Chlorella, which detoxifies. Spirulina, which is high in protein. Goji berries, hemp hearts, bee pollen. So, and I grow my own sprouts. So there's some sprouts here. And
Just lift that up a bit so we can see it. Yeah, you grow those yourself, eh?
So I add probably 2 cups worth of sprouts, and sprouts are really loaded with phytonutrients.
It sounds super healthy.
It is a very healthy
Can we
breakfast.
try some of this stuff right
Please
now?
do. Please do.
Okay. And then can I pass it to Dan?
Yeah, you may.
Okay, great. Thank you. I mean, this is, it's not exactly making my mouth water, but the healthy part of me is going, I really want to bring this into my body and feel healthy.
That's right.
Try the other side here.
Tastes really healthy.
Green mustache.
Do I? Better wipe that off. Hey, Dan, what do you think?
Well, we both look like brothers now. And you got a little bit on your teeth. But it's good.
I do I do some healthy eating myself, and people might not think it's the best tasting, but I got to tell you, my body thanks me for it. My body feels better for it.
Well, you sort of play with the ingredients, and if you want it a little bit sweeter initially, add more berries to it, or an apple to it. It's just, do you like your maple syrup with your oatmeal, or do you like your oatmeal with your maple syrup? So
Right.
sort of wean yourself off of the sweetness.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
Another
That's a good
alternative
point, yeah.
is a chia pudding. So this could be either a snack or it can be for breakfast, and it's just almond milk with chia seeds.
Can we have a look at it? There we go.
Almond
Okay.
milk with chia seeds, hemp hearts, goji berries, and blueberries.
That looks delicious. Can we try that too?
Yeah, very filling.
Okay.
There's a spoon there too.
Oh, there it is. My goodness, we're having a really good
Isn't
meal.
this good?
Well, the other guests in the green room have to wait.
Now that's good. That could be like as bad for you as possible. But it
Well,
tastes
thank you
fantastic.
for giving me another spoon there. I appreciate that. It's
That's really good. What's in that?
Chia seeds.
Mm-hmm.
It's an almond milk base with cashews that are ground in the blender. And then I add in a separate bowl the chia seeds, whole chia seeds, goji berries, hemp hearts, blueberries. And,
Wow.
and it congeals.
It's really awesome. Okay.
Kids would like that too, I'm sure.
Totally. Absolutely.
I'm going to just take one more.
Yeah, go for it. Okay, what else?
Okay,
Roxy?
so one way to control your blood sugar is with cinnamon. So add cinnamon I added cinnamon to the chia pudding and I added it to the smoothie. So just smell this one. This is from Ceylon, so it's very strong smell and it's just absolutely lovely. It helps regulate blood sugar.
It's really cinnamony. And I've heard that too, that cinnamon is the miracle spice
That's right.
that really works wonders on blood sugar.
Very true. So now for a healthier alternative for lunch, I've got a raw pizza. And it's on a pizza. The crust is buckwheat. And buckwheat is not wheat, is actually related to the rhubarb family. And I've got a fresh tomato sauce with fresh tomatoes, sun-dried tomatoes, fresh basil, dates, and then I've got guacamole on top and some black sprouted lentils.
Okay.
So it's very filling.
There's not time to ask how you actually made it, but I'm just curious how does one get that crust?
I use
Go
a
on.
dehydrator, which takes the moisture out so it makes it firm. But the dehydrator, you regulate the temperature so you don't kill the enzymes. So in a dehydrator, you can do beef jerkies or that kind of thing, or mango slices or banana slices. But if I have the temperature just at 108, I retain the enzyme content. So then it's firm.
You know, pizza's my favorite food.
I'm going to
Alexi.
skip it because just
What?
because of a digestive. Well, maybe I'll take a small
It's
taste.
fantastic. Okay? I mean, it's
I didn't mean
better.
to offend you.
I'm just saying, if people think they
Okay.
have to give up pizza,
All right. Okay.
they don't
all right.
have to because this stuff's actually totally awesome.
It's very filling, too. It's not about, raw food is not about counting calories because the food is more nutritionally dense, so you're satiated sooner and you retain that filled feeling for a longer period of time. It's not empty calories.
And I know what happens too, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but once you get into the healthy diet, your body doesn't feel like eating unhealthy food anymore.
No, that's right.
In fact, when you do have something that's less healthy, your body goes, yuck.
Exactly.
Right?
And you really, over time, end up eating less.
Yeah. Fantastic.
That's
Okay.
fantastic.
What else do you have here?
Well, this
Alexi?
is a cooked dish. So like in the book I said, I have a cooked lentil recipe and a raw lentil recipe. So this is a really hearty lunch. Just serve it with a salad. So it's cooked lentils with celery, tomatoes, red peppers, and dill, mint, parsley, and a lemon vinaigrette. And lemon is very alkalizing, so it's very healthy for
I
you.
heard lemon can even cure cancer if you take it every day.
That's right, because your body has to be more alkaline in order to be healthy.
Yeah,
When it's acidic, that's when you're sick.
yeah, absolutely.
So whether it's a cold or cancer or a skin rash or whatever,
Well, thank you.
your body's acidic.
Can I taste that?
Please
Can
do.
you tell us about lentils too? Because lentils, in my experience, not a lot of people really eat lentils.
Oh, they're very alkalizing. I love lentils. They're very healthy, and it helps regulate your blood sugar, and you're more satiated in a quicker period of time for a longer period of time.
And it gives you some of that protein, doesn't it?
That's right. Absolutely.
Well, I like everything else better, to tell you the truth. But for people that still want to cook something, that's
right.
awesome.
Exactly.
So everything that we just saw here, if people ate this kind of diet, if they're dealing with diabetes, like what could they expect?
Well, their blood sugar will definitely go down, so they would have to adjust their insulin accordingly. And it can go down in as quickly as 3 or 4 days. Some people may take a little bit longer, but there's too many complications with diabetes Most people don't die from diabetes. They die from complications as a result of diabetes because it leads to heart problems, gangrene, vision problems, the whole 9 yards.
Wow. Okay. So now the book called Blasting Diabetes, when is it coming out?
June the 1st.
June 1st. And what, are you going to have any events around that time that people can look forward to?
Nothing scheduled at the moment, but I definitely will be.
Like a book launch or something?
Yes, I will. I'll be posting everything on my website, on Facebook, on Twitter, LinkedIn, all the social media sites.
Okay, so people, will they be able to get the book on your website?
Yes.
So what is that website again, just so people know where to go?
Stovelesscuisine.com. So one word, stovelesscuisine.com.
So it's all there. So people can just follow you on your website there
Yes.
and get all your links and to your book that's coming out and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And what else? What other services do you provide
Well,
for
actually,
people?
if I may add, I'm having a 5-day detox up at a nature's retreat up near Georgetown at the beginning of May for 5 days. So if anybody wants to try it for 5 days, it's a great way to step into it and see how much better you'll feel in 5 days.
So they go up there on a retreat, and for 5 days you prepare all the food? And,
yeah, some of it is juicing, some of it is raw food, lots of cooking classes, hands-on, demonstrations, health talks.
So really they can get started with this whole raw
an assessment
food thing.
with a pre- and post-assessment with a naturopath to see your progress in 5 days.
Okay, and can they find out more about that on your website as
Yes,
well?
they do. Absolutely.
And I just want to ask you again briefly, because just quickly, your story, why you got into raw food, and then what was your experience of going on the raw food diet?
13 years ago, I was living in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I was diagnosed with uterine cancer, and I was not prepared to do anything invasive. So after doing research, I spent hours at chapters and libraries. I realized that diet plays such a significant role in your health. Actually, it has been shown scientifically more than 95% of all illnesses are diet related.
Yeah.
So I literally overnight did a 360 and went raw, organic, juicing, got rid of all the toxic toiletries, household chemicals, pure water, used a chi machine, which alkalizes and oxygenates, and a year later I was cancer-free.
Wow, that's amazing.
So
So obviously,
I was toxic.
yeah. So this detox that you're running,
Would certainly
beginning
help.
of May is a great way for people to get started. And
That's right.
obviously, if people that really want to be healthy and stop messing around, they should really consider the raw food thing.
That's right.
Okay, so stovelesscuisine.com. People can check it out and get more info, get the book. And thanks for coming in and doing this, Alexi.
My pleasure.
There is a book. Well, I can ask you later. But there's a. Are you going to hit some of the bookstores or not at all?
Oh, yes.
The one in Kensington Market is very good. I'll talk to you later.
All
Okay,
right,
and that'll
thank
be
you.
all on the website once,
Okay.
Thank
once
you.
Alexi gets it all scheduled.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Alexi. And so we're going to take a little break again, and we're going to come back with Michelle and the TYP, right? Okay, so we're going to play a little video right now, something there called, we're going to do, let's do number, let's do number 4, and we'll come back as the lunch continues.
Can you say why America is the greatest country in the world?
Diversity and opportunity.
Lewis?
Freedom and freedom. So let's keep it that way.
Well, why is America
Not the greatest country in the world, Professor. That's my answer.
You're saying...
Yes.
Let's talk about...
Fine. Sharon, the NEA is a loser. Yeah, it accounts for a penny out of our paycheck, but he gets to hit you with it anytime he wants. It doesn't cost money. It costs votes. It costs airtime and column inches. You know why people don't like liberals? Because they lose. If liberals are so fucking smart, how come they lose so goddamn always?
Hey.
And with a straight face, you're going to tell students that America is so star-spangled awesome that we're the only ones in the world who have freedom? Canada has freedom. Japan has freedom. The UK, France, Italy, Germany, Spain, Australia, Belgium has freedom. So 207 sovereign states in the world, like 180 of them have freedom.
All right.
And yeah, you, sorority girl, just in case you accidentally wander into a voting booth one day, there's some things you should know. And one of them is There is absolutely no evidence to support the statement that we're the greatest country in the world. We're 7th in literacy, 27th in math, 22nd in science, 49th in life expectancy, 178th in infant mortality, 3rd in median household income, number 4 in labor force, and number 4 in exports. We lead the world in only 3 categories: number of incarcerated citizens per capita, number of adults who believe angels are real, and defense spending, where we spend more than the next 26 countries combined, 25 of whom are allies. Now, none of this is the fault of a 20-year-old college student, but you nonetheless are, without a doubt, a member of the worst generation ever. So when you ask what makes us the greatest country in the world, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yosemite? Sure used to be. We stood up for what was right. We fought for moral reasons. We passed laws, struck down laws for moral reasons. We waged wars on poverty, not poor people. We sacrificed. We cared about our neighbors. We put our money where our mouths were, and we never beat our chest. We built great big things, made ungodly technological advances, explored the universe, cured diseases, and we cultivated the world's greatest artists and the world's greatest economy. We reached for the stars, acted like men. We aspired to intelligence. We didn't belittle it. It didn't make us feel inferior. We didn't identify ourselves by who we voted for in the last election, and we didn't scare so easy. We were able to be all these things and do all these things because we were informed by great men who were revered. First step in solving any problem is recognizing there is one. America is not the greatest country in the world anymore.
And we're back here on the show, and we've got Michelle and Joey Tavares here from TYP, and great to have you back, Michelle. But
Thank
I think
you.
Joey, it's our first time meeting you.
Yes.
Here today. So now the last time we were talking about what the transitional youth program was all about at UofT, and maybe you should just give us a little recap of what that is, and then we can get into the new stuff. Okay, Michelle?
Okay, so first of all, the transitional year program, we're having a lot of issues. So we have our 4 demands that we're trying to rally for today, just to let them know that that from the provost we need the support of faculty and the funding that we need, and also an autonomous space. So today we'll be rallying at 1 King Circle to just to voice these concerns, and that's basically why we're here, to let everybody know that we're going to be getting together also at a town hall at March the 28th at 6 o'clock at Oise, to talk about these issues with Cheryl Masak, and just discuss what exactly will be happening with the transitional year program.
The transitional year program.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Can you just sum up what
The
TYP is all about?
Okay, sorry about that. I wasn't too sure exactly what you were asking. So basically, in the 1970s, Karen Braithwaite, the first female professor at the University of Toronto, noticed a great gulf at the University of severely marginalized bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, she started the transitional year program in order to have a year to consider the special circumstances that do concern those who are marginalized, in order to get them into the university. So what it is a year of 6 courses. One of them is a full credit University of Toronto course. The other 5 are just preparatory courses that prepare you to be in the environment of the University of Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
If you excel at the 1 course that you have, and also a half credit in philosophy, you will move on to the university.
So it's a way for people that otherwise would not be able to get into the university program, especially if they
if they're from,
disadvantaged in
yes, if
some
they've
way.
come from, if they fell through the cracks of this very well-oiled system, right?
So it's a way for people to get back on the university track.
Well,
Yes.
it started out for the African Canadian community, and then well before programs like Caribbean Studies or Women's Studies were even instituted at the University of Toronto, Dr. Braithwaite opened up the program to students of varying disadvantaged groups, women, people who were discriminated against based on their sexuality, learning disabled students, etc. The program's been through a number of difficulties over the years. Late in the 70s, it was shut down for 1 year. It was subsumed into another college after that, and that's what the prospect is now. Funding's being cut. Full-time professors are being let go and being replaced with part-time staff, while the student body remains the same. And the issue is that the transitional year program, it was instituted into the governing body that the TYP reports directly to the provost. So it's now its sort of own college. It has its own registrar. What the university is maneuvering to do is to blend the programs together. So another transition program for part-time students, they want to subsume TYP into Woodsworth College. There's no saying that change is necessary and that stagnancy is just going to let something rot. But going back, as Dr. Braithwaite herself said, to something that didn't work 25 years ago doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's a definition of insanity, I think, right? And it doesn't make any sense to me that, like, for example, just another example. So they're trying to cut back here, and we've got a lot of people unemployed in the economy. There's a lot of people struggling to earn enough money. And what does the government do? They're coming up with a budget, an austerity budget. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. The answer to a bad economy is to cut spending. That makes a lot of sense.
And it's where they're cutting spending too. I mean, they're certainly not propping up the banks.
Well, you got to keep those bankers in business.
And that's just what we've presented to the university as well. I mean, there's other programs that are older than younger than the transitional year program that aren't being cut. They're not amalgamating dentistry with medicine. And there's a great boom going on in the schools of medicine and the schools of business.
Yeah.
Yet an access and equity program that has at maximum 70 students a year is being, cut under. I don't think that the powers that be within the TYP themselves are against change so much as the gutting of the program.
Right.
It's essential that these students have their own space, have their own registrar, and have their own administration. And being subsumed into a college, they're going to lose all that. These aren't students that are 2 or 3 years out of high school and taking a bridging program, which is through Woodsworth, to gain access to the university. These are severely disadvantaged students who are in need of a year, sometimes 2, to acclimate themselves into the university and the academic environment. And it's entirely possible the program does work. And it bridges into a university that is itself based in access and equity.
So what is the state of affairs now? Because I'm new to this. You were interviewed here before.
Yeah.
Has this program, is it about to be, or it already has been closed down?
Well,
what's happening with
the
this
issue is the budget
austerity
has,
thing?
yes, the budget has been frozen for 3 years now, meaning no money can come in, basically. We have 2 full-time staff. There's 3 part-time who are basically working for nothing.
So it's there, but there's nothing to back it.
There's nothing, yeah, exactly. And we're kind of like on our last little legs here. If we don't get some money coming in, some sort of funding, at least, that's what we're asking, to get a task force to update the Kelly report, which is a report that researched the place of TYP, what would be best for the TYP program in order to excel. That hasn't been done since the 1970s, and we're asking them to redo that and then proceed from there. They, when they're in these economic change, they just want to uproot and turn around and, throw up the dust at everything. but that is not always the best way for the environment. So you know, for what's going on, you have to really consider things properly. And we're at a university where we are told to research and to study before we move ahead.
Well, here's the situation. The trouble with government, thank you, Hu, is I guess they don't think far ahead. I'm not blaming a specific politician, but the people that hold the reins of the purse and the financial situation, oh, we got to cut this, we got to cut that, do realize maybe, but they're too lazy to, or they're just too overwhelmed, or whatever their excuse is, to see that these are investments. They're not something that's just causing expenses. It's keeping people at work or keeping people in the system so they don't have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars to take care of them walking around like zombies. No, I'm exaggerating maybe.
No,
but,
it's an uncomfortable oxymoron that the Provost's office is offering considerable funding to the TYP if they voluntarily change their mandate. The mandate cannot be changed by Governing Council, as TYP in the Governing Council mandate reports directly to the Provost. They have to voluntarily give this up. And if they do, considerable funding will be coming the TYP's way. That's a little bit of the uncomfortable oxymoron.
Well, what's the trade-off there? What are you giving up if you actually do that?
Well, giving up space, giving up staff. The registrar would become an associate registrar.
But then all the extra funding, what does it cover then?
Exactly. What is it covering? It's going it's going to be given to the TYP, which is subsumed under Woodsworth College. I mean, it just seems like a little bit strange that the money's there, but only if you do this. What happens once we go through that door?
Right.
Like you were saying, the TYP is an investment, and it's not just an investment, it enriches the student body at the University of Toronto. This is the top school in Canada, if not North America, and I would argue that. And, David Naylor himself said that the TYP is the jewel in the crown of the university, because the students branch out into the student body and bring with them a social experience that future doctors, lawyers, politicians, etc. would never be exposed to at the ages of 18, 19, and 20, but are because of these students who are percolating throughout the university body. And there have been some real success stories coming out of the transitional year program. It's nothing. The UofT is certainly not ashamed to,
Yeah. Okay, so now we got a couple things coming up. We got the rally today, and then what else do we have coming up, Michelle?
March the 28th, we have a town hall at OAZ. It's going to be room 2124. So again, that's OAZ. At room 2124, there will be a town hall. We're inviting Cheryl Mazak there, who is the provost. We are, we hope to see her out there this time. We have been talking with her back and forth. So, and yeah, those are the two major things that will give us a forum of which we can talk about what are her issues and what are our issues, and how we can come to some sort of compromise, or put things on the table so that, we don't, if we have to be moved, that's fine. You know what I mean? It has to do with autonomy of the curriculum and the autonomy of the space, because the teachers who are there, they are not, they're not traditional teachers. They are giving their mentoring. They're there to get down on the level of the student, to deal with what they are dealing with at the same time.
It's a rather intense program. It's a full-time year. I mean, you're seeing a lot more hours on campus than a first-year student would. And these professors are invested. And for Dr. Vizak to be in communication with the Preservation Alliance, I mean, it's a boon, and it's a credit to her name. And the town hall that's coming up, it's very important that she comes, that we all remember that, there's a lot of tension all the way around, but it's a non-hostile environment for us to make a start and to proceed. And there's no arguments, like Michelle was saying, that we're not against moving. We're for the integrity of the program, and for where it stands now. Dr. Braithwaite made it very clear. We tried this 25 years ago to subsume TYP into a college, and it didn't work. In fact, it was the governing council that pulled the TYP out of the college and gave it its own mandate.
Yeah.
So to take 2 steps back now doesn't make any sense when the program is actually producing more than it ever has. For more, for different demographics, for more demographics than it ever has.
So what's their excuse then? What it doesn't make sense. What is the excuse, or they weren't even looking at it? Was there a statement like someone would say, look, it's doing more, why are you taking the program out?
I don't think it's an excuse. I think the university is, they're looking over what's going on within the entire body. And so, the language departments were amalgamated, German, French, and Italian. There have been some cost-cutting measures and some administrative amalgamations, if you will, that, make sense. It's where these amalgamations, where the TYP is concerned, are going to structurally harm the integrity of the program, that it doesn't make sense. And this is what we would like Dr. Vizak's ear for. We are against stagnation, and as I have said before, if you're not moving in the university, you're not going anywhere. We just want to move up.
Okay, so we got these 2 events today and March 28th. Now, is there a place, Michelle, where people can get more information online, or?
They can go to www.universityoftoronto.ca/TYP.
Oh, okay, great. And any final thoughts from you guys? Any final messages you want to get out?
Final message is
help.
Is give us come on down to the transitional to the town hall. Sorry, and something that has been burning on my mind, I guess, is this thing of rethink your your statements for speaking to those those conservative capitalists, who think I expect just as much from that person that I expect from that person. I hear this a lot, but it's not a laudable way to think, because people have so many different circumstances. People who are deaf, people who are facing a lot of different things. And you just think that it's just as easy for them as it is for you. It's not true.
Yeah,
for some people, the marathon is about winning it in an amount of time, and for some people, the marathon is about finishing it. And both are valued and valorous.
Okay, guys. All right. Well, thanks for coming down.
Thanks for having us.
And we'll keep our eye on the issue. And best of luck. Hope you win this one.
Thank you.
For everybody.
For the entire UofT.
Exactly. And in fact, for the whole country. Okay. So let's take a little break. We're going to come back with Joe the Investor. What do we have here? Well, you know what? Let's play the Victoria Grant here. And we're going to come back with Joe as Liquid Lunch continues.
It was about 5 or 6 weeks ago that Victoria spoke to a group of 600 people at a Rotary Club, and she's going to be giving the same speech to us today. And I saw it, I think a week or so after it hit the web, it started going around, and so I quickly got on the phone and talked with her dad, Zane, and invited them here. And so we have a very special treat. So Victoria, come on up, do your thing.
Have you ever wondered why Canada is in debt? Have you ever wondered why the government forces Canadians to pay so many taxes? Have you ever wondered why the bankers from the largest private banks are becoming wealthier and the rest of us are not? Have you ever wondered why the gross national debt is over $800 billion? Or why we are spending $160 million a day on the interest of the national debt? That's $60 billion a year. Have you ever wondered who receives the $60 billion? What I have discovered is the banks and the government have colluded to financially enslave the people of Canada. I will share with you 3 important points of reference which will hopefully spark enough interest and concern for you to continue the research on your own and to engage your government to stop this criminal act against the people of Canada. First, we will briefly examine the Bank of Canada. Second, we will see how our banking system works today. And lastly, I will offer a viable solution that we can petition our government to implement. A very little known figure in Canadian history is J.O. McGeer. He was a lawyer, Member of Parliament, and Mayor of Vancouver. His contribution to Canada is probably the greatest in our history. He championed the creation of the National Bank of Canada, whose sole purpose is to create and manage Canada's money. It was formed on July 3, 1934, and owned by all Canadians. Until the 1970s, because of the Bank of Canada, Canada's national debt was held at a constant, manageable level, until the government decided to implement what we now have as our modern-day banking system that is robbing the Canadian people. So how are they robbing us? Allow me to explain how our private banks and government work today. First, the Canadian government borrows money from the private banks. They then lend the debt-based money to Canada with compounded interest. The government then continues to increase taxation of Canadians year after year in order to pay back the interest on the exponentially growing national debt. What results is inflation, less real money for Canadians to spend into our economy, and the real money being used to pad the pockets of the banks. Also, the government gave the banks the ability to loan out money that doesn't exist in the form of loans. When a bank gives you a mortgage, which literally means a death pledge, or a loan, they don't actually give you money. They click a key on a computer and generate the fake money out of thin air. They don't actually have it in their bank vaults. Presently, the banks only have $4 billion on reserve, but they have loaned out over $1.5 trillion. To quote Graham Towers, each and every time a bank makes a loan, a new bank credit is created. New deposits, brand new money. Broadly speaking, all new money comes out of a bank in the form of loans. As loans are debt, then under the present system, all money is debt. What I find interesting is even Jesus, in Matthew 21, drove out the money changers in the temple because they were manipulating the currency to steal money from the people. The private banks are just like the money changers in Matthew 21. They are defrauding and robbing the people of Canada, thus their freedom, and they need to be stopped. How should the banking system work? In an infamous interview, Mr. McGeer asked Mr. Towers, "Can you tell me why a government with power to create money should give that power away to a private monopoly and then borrow that which Parliament can create itself back at interest to the point of national bankruptcy?" Mr. Towers replied, "If Parliament wants to change the form of operating the banking system, then certainly that is within the powers of Parliament. In other words, if the Canadian government needs money, they can borrow it directly from the Bank of Canada. The people would then pay fair taxes to repay the Bank of Canada. This tax money would in turn get injected back into our economic infrastructure and the debt would be wiped out. Canadians would again prosper with real money as the foundation of our economic structure and not debt money. Regarding the debt money owed to the private banks, such as the Royal Bank, we would simply have the Bank of Canada print the money owing, hand it over to the private banks, and then clear the debt with the Bank of Canada. And yes, we have the power and lawful right to do so. In conclusion, it has become painfully obvious, even for me, a 12-year-old Canadian, that we are being defrauded and robbed by the banking system and a complicit government. What will we do to stop this crime? What will we do to ensure that the next generation will live free and clear of the debt-based economy that enslaves them to the banks? Margaret Mead said the following, and I hope that all of you remember this. "Never doubt that a small group of people can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." Thank you.
You do.
Because we've got Joe the investor
yes.
here, and the book is out, right? It's called "What Is Your Money Telling You: Managing Your Life and Money Holistically." Joe, congratulations on getting the book out.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
In fact, it smells great. It's one of those books, you smell it. Yeah, smell that book.
This should be in the raw foods diet thing. They should have included it.
We weren't doing whites and
Why not? Well, we should have that together so that we are actually doing the show when we go live. But so let us know when we're ready.
What do you mean that was all?
It was all practice.
What are you telling me?
We're ready to go. We were confused because we didn't think you guys were going, and then I put the headphones on and went, oh, there's no sound. It looks like they're...
Okay, let me know when you're ready to go.
Okay.
Okay.
So what did I think of who?
That Victoria Grant girl.
Well, this is the first time. How old is she?
I don't know.
11? Well,
Maybe
whatever. She's young.
She's older now than she was when she did that video.
Okay, but she sounds like she's out of Harvard Business School already and figured things out and was sharing with the community.
I think what happened was
very bright girl.
I think she might have had a little help from her parents. Maybe not. I'm not sure. But she figured out what the big banking scam is and has been able to explain it in that very quick clip. And they're inviting her to speak. That was down in the U.S. somewhere.
Yeah.
And she's from Ontario someplace. But anyway, it's amazing. And people are really starting to understand this money, the whole money issue. And we are privileged here now to have Joe Barbieri, Joe the investor, joining us. And Joe, you've got the book out, which is fabulous. Congratulations. See, you can even see, it's one of those see-through books. You see? You can see the skyline through it. It's magic. You should get this book just for that effect alone, Joe.
It's whoever buys the book, it does have a little more green to it. Just want to warn everybody. It actually looks good. And the smell is so nice and crisp, freshly out off the press, as you say it. And it seems like it could be
Don't
like
smell it on the air.
part of the raw food diet. It's very good. Anyways.
Okay, Joe. So, first of all, congratulations on the book. Let's get into it. I mean, first of all, what was the motivation for writing this book?
The motivation, well, a lot of things that are in there are my experiences. And when I've talked to more and more people, they're having similar experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So the question that came up was, what am I doing this for? The job, the routine, all the things that people tell you to do, what is it all about? So I began to look inside and say, what is this all about for me? And that's where the concept of the book came from. So it's self-awareness through the money, and from the money you link it to everything in your life and say, okay, if I'm going to work, how does that affect everything else? If I have money, how does it affect everything else? And I find a lot of that's missing, because people look at money in isolation.
Well, people often think about money as being the only goal you really need to consider, because money can then be translated into anything else that you're looking for. But it kind of reminds me of that, I always say this, but the Nirvana album cover, the first Nirvana album, where you got the little baby in the water, the newborn baby in the water, and there's a fish hook there with a big dollar bill through it, and it's like, is this what life's all about? Really? Is that it? We're born so that we can be just caught on the hook of money?
Is that New Yorker? A cartoon in New Yorker? Or?
No, it's the first Nirvana album.
Oh wow. Okay.
So that's what I'm getting at, and the answer to that typically is not really. Money is just a small part of your life. There's a lot more going on, and this is allowing you to see what that other stuff is and how to put it together.
It seems to me, in fact, somebody made a comment recently, or because I'm following all this money stuff, like along the lines of Victoria Grant there, that it seems increasingly, and people have noted this since the Federal Reserve was created in, 1913, that everything has become about money, increasingly so. Whereas before, people did things because They love doing it. They love to help their fellow man. Now it seems everybody's just all about the money, right? Show me the money, right?
Yeah.
And it seems almost, and it seems to me, more and more people are under increasing money pressure all the time. Mm-hmm. And for somebody that's experiencing some of that money pressure, it seems hard and maybe harder than ever to escape from that. So can your book help somebody that's facing that kind of money pressure, and how does it do that?
That's what it's designed for. And how it does it is by, well, questioning yourself, questioning what you're doing, what you're thinking. I get into beliefs a lot, psychology, emotional attachment. A lot of people spend money and they don't really know what they're doing. It's just habits.
Yeah.
I call them addictions in the book, but they're habits that you've done for years and years and years, and you don't even realize until you stop and look at it and say, oh, I was doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Why am I doing that?
Mm-hmm.
Do I need to do that?
Mm-hmm.
And then the change begins. And one by one, you start to reform. It's, you know, the spiritual world says you become aware and you're conscious. It's the same with money. You can become conscious of it, and you'll use it differently when you know why. You might spend it the same way, but you'll know why you're doing it, and you'll feel good about it.
Yeah.
And you'll know when not to do it, or as opposed to being on autopilot and just work till you retire, get your pension, work again. I mean, now you're going to be working until you die. That's becoming the new paradigm.
Yeah.
Because retirement is obsolete. But you know, these types of things are being said, and so, oh, well, I have to work till I'm 70. All right, let's go. Oh, 75, okay, 80. Well, you know, but why not ask yourself if 80 is what I need, or 60, or what retirement really is? You know, the whole. And so, yeah, it's designed to get you to, I could say, free yourself from it, but just look at it differently.
But really, can we free ourselves from it? I mean, it seems like we are increasingly slaves to the financial system. Like, is there a way out, realistically, for people?
There is. Everyone will have to have their own way out. That's what I'm finding.
Yeah.
Which is why the self-awareness and the questioning. For me, I'll use this route. For you, you might use a different route, because this is more important to you, or you're better at doing this, or you love to do this. But it's more of looking for the route, you know, knowing there is a route and looking for it, versus going on autopilot and saying everyone does this and that's what life's about. So
how does one become aware in the first place? And it's an open question. I'm not expecting you for the answer. Is it like someone has to die in their family, or an illness, or what is your conjecture to wake them up before they go see the life coach or whoever to help them take those steps in the right direction?
Conjecture. Because
there's no perfect answer. As he says, everyone has to find their own way.
I just thought it was a big word.
Well,
for liquid lunch.
Okay.
So, well, there's a bunch of answers.
Mm-hmm.
The way I did it was I started asking questions. What is this all for? Sort of like a soul search. Mm-hmm. And how it happened for me was I was doing this, following the rules, doing the routine, and then one day I just didn't want to do it. Mm-hmm. I just got very disinterested in it. And no matter what I did, if I changed jobs, changed ideas, nothing would satisfy that disinterest. Mm-hmm. So it began to get deeper. Mm-hmm. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this at all.
Yeah.
And that led me onto the route. Other people have a crisis. Other people, something happens to their friend. Mm-hmm. You know, like when I was working, I would meet people who just quit. They were the top of their game, making a lot of money, mm-hmm. climbed the ladder, did everything they were supposed to do, and one day they just, I'm going to go and sell cheese in Calgary. Where did that come from? Well, I want to do that, and I've made my money and I'm gone. Mm-hmm. And they'll just leave like that. And there's a lot of stories like that.
We've had so many people on the show, Joe, that were maybe at one time working in the finance sector or big corporations or banking, whatever. And they just, at some point, it almost seems like inevitably they all have had enough and they have to do something different. and they get into holistic medicine or life coaching.
Well, Baldini, the magician. Remember Baldini, the magician? He was a
course.
marketing executive. Yeah.
So it sometimes comes from a choice.
Yeah.
Sometimes it comes from a crisis. It comes from, I'd say it's a realization. You realize that something has to be changed. How will depend. If you're really not wanting to see it, the crises will get bigger and bigger and bigger, so you have to see it. If you're willing to look for it, it'll come in a different way. It'll come subtly.
Well, okay, so Joe, so let's so that's what this book is for, though, for people that are trying to deal with this. It's really a life issue, and probably a major life issue that everybody should go through. But who is the intended audience for this book? Of the people watching now, like who should consider really seriously getting their hands on this book?
I'd say the person who's looking for a change in their life. And now it talks about it through the money, but I get into all the aspects and the beliefs, the psychology, which are very, very social. Like I'll say, for example, consume until you drop. This is a very common, you hear this everywhere. And a lot of people just buy into that and say, yeah, for sure, I'm going to do that. But that gets you into trouble sometimes. And by not buying into that, your life will change. Because you've freed up all this energy and money that would have gone there. Now you can put it somewhere where you actually want to put it. And so if you like where you are and you like what you're doing, you likely won't want to buy the book. But I think a lot of people want to make a change.
Like a career change or a major life change.
A life change.
Any kind of change that's pertaining to money, really. And everything is involved with money.
Everything's... It permeates through. Yeah.
Is it a program? Is it like, in essence, a program that people can follow to improve their lives in the book, or?
There is a method. I don't go into a lot of detail. I'll just say that it's an observing method. So just watch what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, there are other books that talk about it. It's not completely new, but a lot of people don't really do it, or they don't think it works, but watching what you're doing is important, and asking yourself why. And the more you do that, the easier it gets. And then eventually you'll kind of know what to do, because you'll give yourself the answers. But you have to initiate that beginning.
Yeah.
Someone will not come to you and say, you should ask yourself this. Because you're just going to resist them. You're going to say, well, who are you to tell me what to ask?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask myself. But once you're asking yourself, there's nobody to resist you.
Yeah.
Because that voice will keep going in your head until you answer it.
So for people that are ready to take responsibility for their lives as a whole and willing to do something to make a change. Dan, any...
Well, I think that the book is probably for everybody. It's for the people that know about the issue, but can say to their friends and relatives who don't quite get it, please just take a look at a few paragraphs of this. Just, I know, and not into it, but just take a look at it. It's for them to give it to them. It's for the people that are unhappy, but they don't know why. They're in the middle of the business world. They're going. It's for them. It's for students like that smart girl that we just saw, who did that lecture. What's her name? Michelle. Okay. It's amazing how bright teenagers and preteens are. It's even for them.
Well, especially since there's no jobs for those guys and girls.
And
it's for quite a wide spectrum.
I can see a lot of people, say under 20 or 25, who look at the paradigm we have now and say, I'm not going to get anywhere in that. I've given up on it already. And if you give up on it, then what do you do? And then the search begins.
Wow.
Well, if this paradigm is bad, or I'm going to fail because there's no pension, there's no job, nothing full-time, no this, no that, no the other, I have to move everywhere to keep an income. Maybe there's a better way to do it. And I'm sure that they're looking for it, because that's naturally what you do if something doesn't work. if you've banged at it long enough, you'll eventually get frustrated and say, I've tried this 35 times. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
The 36th time, let's try something else.
Yeah.
And that's where it starts.
All right, so the book is called What Is Your Money Telling You? Managing Your Life and Money Holistically. And as you can see, it's a magic book. As you can see the skyline through it. Joe, where can people, like, are you having any events, like launch events or?
Well, there's one event that I know of at a bookstore. It's Origo Books.
Oh, great.
Which is at the St. Lawrence Market, just a minute south of there.
That's great bookstore.
It's at the end of May.
What are you doing there? What is that?
It's a talk/book signing.
Oh, great.
Now, that's the only one that I know of right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to do others as they come up.
Okay.
I have this book in 9 stores.
Okay.
They're independents and they're in Toronto. So they're all on my website.
Okay, so can people also order from the website or buy it online?
They could buy it from me.
Yeah.
Through the website and through the store, which is on the website.
Okay.
Then there's an e-version that's on Lulu right now. I'm going to have it on all the major providers, but as of this minute, it's not there yet.
But basically, people can go to your website and find out where they can get their hands on the book.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's available right now. That's fabulous.
It's live, yeah.
Okay, so the website for people who want to get right on it?
It's joetheinvestor.ca.
Yeah.
The books page.
Okay.
If you look at the top menu, there's a resources tab. The book page is under that.
All right.
So that'll tell you about where it is and the forms it's in and all the information about it.
That's awesome. You know, I'm really looking forward to reading the book because I think we got some serious, not just people as individuals, but as a society as a whole, some serious issues about the whole money thing. So thanks for writing the book and congratulations on getting it written.
Yeah, thanks. It's going to be good.
Okay. Okay, Joe, thanks for doing this. And Dan?
Who gets the book?
Well, you guys can figure that out after the show.
Okay.
This is my copy. Okay, so we are we're going to get ready for a fabulous segment coming up. We got Johnny Smash in the house, Royal Youth, and we're going to have a whole panel with 4 people talking about black on black violence. And we got a video right now, Johnny Smash. We're going to play this, and we are going to come back with the panel as the lunch hits the home stretch.
And you know, when our city is rocked by events like last night's shooting, it's easy to blame the neighborhood or gang culture. But as violence continues to stain our city's streets, is it time to look elsewhere now for answers? With more on that part of the story, here's Anthony Robart.
It's been more than 10 years since Audette Shepard's son, Justin, was shot and killed. Monday's deadly shooting rampage takes her right back to that moment that changed her life forever.
When you think you've gotten over one, it's happening again.
A recent spate of gun incidents in Toronto has certainly given many in this city pause. Audette Shepard says she feels angry, disappointed, and at times helpless.
We need, actually, as a city, stop applying bandages when we need to really look at surgery. Because every day that we fail to act, gun violence just continues to take the lives of our people. I've heard people say it's a black problem. It's not a black problem. It's a Toronto problem.
My first thought is, here we go again.
Courtney Betty represented the family of Jordan Manners after the 15-year-old was shot and killed, and through the subsequent inquiry. He says little, if anything, has been done in the city since then to fix what he believes are not simply isolated incidents.
It's not just an issue of the police. It's not just the issue of public housing. It's not just the issue of community services. We need a czar right now. We need a crime czar.
Johnny Smash is living proof the cycle of violence can be broken and fixed. He says that means the community must also point the finger at itself.
If we had tradespeople or people that were involved in business, that were our heroes and our mentors, then we would strive to be something different than something that we are today.
How did you break free of that?
Just basically going through the cycle. I mean, me, myself, I was shot twice. I was shot in my arm. I got shot in my leg. And just realizing that, hey, there's something more for me in life.
My call to action came when Justin died. But I encourage people, don't wait for tragedy to hit your door for your call to action. Let your call to action be today.
Anthony Robart, Global News.
I'm waiting. Yeah, I just want to see what's on the screen, you know. And welcome back to the show. We're hitting the home stretch here, and we are joined by Johnny Smash here.
1, 2, otta, otta. That's right,
And
Johnny Smash.
I'm going to have to practice that one later, Johnny
You got
Smash.
it. You just got to.
Also, we have Reverend Wayne Lewis joining us here on the panel, and Royal Youth, who's been on the show before.
Yep.
Great to have you guys on the show. And Johnny Smash, we saw that clip.
Yeah.
What was that from? What was
That was in the summer 2012. Anthony Robart, shout out to Anthony Robart, Global Television. At that time, he was a reporter. Now he's an anchor. Did a story about the gun violence in Toronto. As you remember, there was a dancing shooting. There was the most people affected by gun violence at one time in the history of Toronto. So he interviewed me, and a lot of people don't know that Johnny Smash got shot before. And what that did, it kind of propelled me into like advocacy issues, because I've always felt that we need to change the lives of the youths and this gun culture. So I ended up on Global then. The next day, I ended up on CFRB, and they interviewed me. So after that, I joined the Members Advocacy Committee, which is at St. Stephen's, and a lot of people are familiar with St. Stephen's because it's been an institution in Toronto. And yeah, it's run by a lady, Helen Armstrong, and we fought for welfare cuts, and we got them instituted back. And then we recently just spoke again in front of City Hall about budget cuts to our shelter. And I was in the Star today with James, right? The writer for the Toronto Star.
Royston?
Yeah, Royston James, yes. He did a thing for me, a little quote. So what I proposed was that, hey, here's Johnny Smash, he's in the music industry, and here's Johnny Smash, the advocate. So I wanted to bring both of them together by empowering youths using the arts through music. And as you can see, we have our musical talent here, Royal Youth, who has the Royal Youth Foundation, who's on the same page as me about empowering youths through the arts. And then we have Reverend Wayne Lewis here, who's making a difference in our community. So I would like to speak to Reverend Wayne Lewis first, because he's from Rexdale, where I'm from, and shout out to Rexdale.
Let's do it, Johnny Smash.
Yeah. Welcome to the show, Reverend Wayne Lewis.
Glad to be here. It's very humbling.
Great. So you have a church out in Rexdale?
Yeah, we started a church 2 years ago. It's called The Word Incorporated, AME Church. And it's funny, when God called me back into the community, he really allowed me to see everything that transpired there. So we're serving the community where we both grew up.
Right.
And it's very interesting what's taking place there.
What is taking place, or what has taken place?
Both. Well, you know, as things change, they remain the same.
Yeah.
You know, there's still a lack of hope, and I always break down hope as in heroes, opportunities, purpose, and excellence. You can still see young people that have so much potential, but it's just like they can't, it just doesn't click right. You see a young man at 17 who can't imagine, graduating from university, or can't even imagine going to do much in his life. That was the same challenges when we were coming up that we faced, and we had to overcome by God's grace.
Yeah, so I got a lot of questions, John.
I know I do. I got a lot of stories.
Deviate from.
No, you speak, Hugh, because it's a subject that we need to discuss, and that's why the panel is different today. We have a reverend, we have an artist, and we have an event coordinator, and we all have stories from our lives that we are affected by gun violence, and so is there a lot of people out there. So let's talk about it. Let's be about it. Go ahead, Hugh Riley.
So, Reverend Wayne, so being in the community and being involved in the church, what is the real issue? I mean, you mentioned lack of hope, but I mean, there's got to be something underlying that, or maybe something in addition to that the community needs to deal with.
You know what? I would love to be able to articulate that it's one thing, but it has evolved into so many issues over the years. As a minister, I know what happens when a family or community has forsaken God, or they don't have that moral fiber inside of them. I can see what takes place. So my perspective is obviously lean towards that. I see what happens when a community no longer fears God, no longer reads His Word, no longer cares about his brother or sister, and what happens. This is where you get, the Crips and the Bloods, or you have people that literally live less than a kilometer from each other, firing at each other because there's no fear, there's no respect. So I see that. So that's where I come from. I believe, and with all my heart, that if we had Christ in it, if we had Jesus in it, in our schools, how we used to have it, if we had it in our communities, we would see a tremendous difference.
Well, you think about it. Think about the position of Canada and the United States and the West in general. I mean, it rose to prominence when Christianity was strong in those nations.
That wasn't an accident, though.
That's why, I mean, I'm just saying, look at the match A to B.
That's right.
And draw your own conclusions. And now, I don't know what your experience is, but it seems there's been a falling away from all churches and from that wisdom that people had been living by for thousands of years.
Yeah, for me, I think one of our most dangerous word in our society right now is tolerance. Because when we use the word tolerance, it means that we will not speak truth in love or speak truth to power. We will cut corners, and we won't say, you know, you're wrong or you're right. We will somehow find a way to get along, and you can't when it comes to truth. It's truth is black and white. It is what it is, and our family unit is not living in truth. We're not teaching our children truth. We're allowing them to grow up to do whatever they want to do, and literally we're seeing that. And again, in Rexdale, it wasn't a big deal to see guys being shot or whatnot. I remember when crack cocaine came into our community. It was like a fast food spot in front of our buildings. Cars would just come in and out, and I seen that whole thing transform our community. So now, when I look at it and I see the different manifestations of it, I'm thinking, man, imagine if the church was able to really grab some of these young lions and really speak to them what the Lord sees about them and says about them, how things would be different. And that's what we do.
Well, I got to tell you something, you.
Yes, Johnny Smash.
Gun violence affected me, as you know, because I was shot before, and if the Canadian public does know that, Johnny Smash was a victim of gun violence. I know Reverend Wayne before he was the Reverend. So here we have Johnny Smash, who grew up in a small community in Rexdale. My community was called Mount Olive.
Yeah.
And because I'm from Mount Olive, other people that are from Mount Olive and in other neighborhoods, not just my neighborhood, your life might be at risk because you're on a different side of the borderline. We'll just put it that way.
Yeah.
Where Reverend Wayne lived was called Murder Cap. The reason why it was called Murder Cap, because at that time when it first started got in the name, it was 3 unsolved murders. And these are stuff that's happening in our community. So my message is this. We were actually there, and we weren't happy about it. So we want to make a change. And the difference between us and those people out there is we actually went through it. And in our hearts, we want to see a change for the youth. Because I don't want my kids growing up saying, oh, you're from Murder Cap. Oh, we're going to go to Mount Olive. We're going to do this. There's another shooting and being involvement. And this is where a person like Royal Youth comes in, who's using his musical talent to change the ways. I'm just here as an event coordinator trying to use my media outlets, etc. So let's speak to Royal Youth about his Royal Youth Foundation, actually.
Okay, first of all, I'd like to thank you for having me on the show again, you.
Great to see you again.
And I'd like to make a quote by the late, great Peter Tosh, you know. He says, you can't blame the youths of today. And you really can't, because gang violence, when you really check it out, our society today is based on violence. You look on the sports, you look at hockey, you see these guys fight, there's a time when they fight, you know, it's all cool, basketball, football, you know what I mean? It's all about dominance, aggression, and violence in our society. That's how I think it's built upon, you know? So we ask ourselves the question, so why is it there's more people, more kids dying, more kids fighting against themselves more than when our grandmas were in our grandma's time? Why is it? And it's our grandmas that grew us, you know? So I feel like there's family values. The family values are kind of watered down in nowadays society, you know? You know what I mean? Some of the family, like you have single mothers, you have, not to get it twisted, because you have kids that grow in a single home and become brilliant kids, you know, be successful in society and stuff, but you have a house where the mom has to work real hard, double jobs, you know, and she don't really have time for her little son. She don't have time for parent-teachers meeting and stuff like that. She don't have time to teach these family values or these religious values like what the preacher is telling us.
Yeah, it sounds like that, you know, that financial stress that we're under, that we were talking about earlier, is taking people away from their families.
Exactly. So mommy or daddy has to go out there, and there's not much time to enforce these qualities that these youths that were instilled in us as kids growing up by our grandmas and stuff. So as the saying goes, the devil has plans for idle hands, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so here you are. You're a musician, right? What we're going to do right now, we're going to go to a song by Junior Reid called The Babylon Released the Chains. And it has a message in it, and I personally think that the message is being lost. And I know you have a positive message in your music. So we're going to listen to the song. We want Reverend Wayne and we want Roy Youth to elaborate on the message that's on the song. So we'll now,
Yes.
Yeah, so as soon as we come back, we'll go to the video, Babylon Release the Chain.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Them a use them brain. Oh gosh, them a use them brain. Them a use them brain. Oh, it's a shame I'm feeling pain. Oh, it's a shame I'm feeling pain. My brothers and my sister going down the drain. Brothers and my sister going down the drain. The Babylon released the chain, but them I use them brain. I want to know that Babylon released the chain, but them I use them brain. They take us from Africa and brought us in Jamaica. They brought us in Jamaica. They even stole our name and let us work the sugar cane. To know our sweat go in vain. Time when we lose and time we refuse. Time when we gain and time when we strain. So you please call upon your name and don't play the game of fair. Because the Babylon released the chain, but them I use them brain. I want you to know the Babylon released the chain, but them I use them brain. Yeah, them I use them brain. Use them brain. Oh, it's a shame. Say Babylon released the chain, but them I use them brain. I want you to know, say Babylon released the chain, but them I use them brain. No chain round our feet, but still we are not free. Oh, oh, yeah. See, all they using us is strategy. Yeah, yeah. So please have some mercy on us. Don't treat us this way. I know one day we'll get your pay. Oh, yeah. Then release the chain, them I use them brain. The Babylon release the chain, but them I use them brain. Just to update, update. Oh gosh, whoa. I guess that's it. Babylon in the light, yeah. The Babylon release the chain, but them I use them brain. I want to know the Babylon release the chain, but them I use them brain. It's a shame. They release the chain, them I use them brain. Whoa, shame. They release the chain, them I use them brain.
All right, so there's a Junior Reed. What was that song called?
The Babylon released the chains.
Okay.
Which basically means is that even though we as black people were in physical slavery, is that we also have a mental slavery. And as Royal Youth touched on, I want to ask the Reverend, I want to ask Royal Youth, how do we really convey the message? Because I, Johnny Smash, feel that the youths are lost in a sense because here you have the music lovers, here you have Junior Reed, who's a Rasta, right? Who, as a lot of people don't realize, the Rastas are pillars in our community, just like how the Reverend would be a pillar, because we seek godly advice from them, right? So here's Junior Reed telling you, listen, don't be fooled by society. You got to keep your hardcore values, just like the Reverend said, and just like Royal Youth said. So why aren't the youths listening to the message? Because art reflects life, and life reflects art. So how do we solve that problem? I'd like to ask the Reverend first.
You know, one of the things that I love about that song is that when you get an understanding of what Babylon was and what it always represented, Babylon comes from the Tower of Babel in the book of in the book of Genesis, and it's when mankind decided to say we don't need God anymore, we don't need you. They wanted to build a pillar, build a name for themselves, and you know the saying: if God makes your name great, He'll keep you great. But if you make yourself great, you got to keep yourself great. So throughout history, Babylon has always been something that always went against God. It's a godless system. Well, so I love about that song because it says, you know, Babylon has released the chains, the physical chains, but they're using their brains. And with our youth, I think one of the things that they see, they're tired of the hypocrisy. They're tired of someone telling them, this is what you're supposed to do, but when they look at their leaders or their caregivers, they can realize that they're not doing it themselves.
Right, and that gets back to what I was telling you when we're off camera. The reason why I brought you on the show, because when I first went to your church, Johnny Smash is a big skeptic. Was full of a lot of skepticism, and I met you and I knew that you're real, and I like that. Now, here's Royal Youth, who I'm going to bring in Rasta into it. Doesn't like when I talk about Rasta a lot, but to me, Rasta is something that is to be upheld. Here we have a Rasta man here, similar like yourself, a musician, right? How do you feel you're going to be the conveyor of that message? How are you going to use your music?
Well, the line says Babylon released the chains, but them I use them brain, you know?
Mm.
So it's basically saying that we're still under this mental slavery. So to the youth, the advice I could give them is be a reader. You're a reader, you'll be a leader, you know? So elevate your mind and, yeah, research your history and stuff like that. So when you research your history and know where you're coming from as a black man, you know where you're going, you know, you're going to see that we're royal youths of the Most High, you know? Put Jah first and everything will come after, you know? So these ideals that we need in our family life, to put the Most High first, and then everything will come after. So that's how I think. That's the vibe I get off the song.
You know, I'm thinking just also to go with that and what you said too, Reverend Wayne, is that, you know, young people, they may look at their elders and they see the hypocrisy there, but at some point, they have to take responsibility and become adults for the way that they live their lives and forget about what other people are doing. They need to take responsibility themselves at some point.
I think that's key. But you got to remember, by the time a 17-year-old male has a gun in his hand pointing at somebody, that is just a symbol that he's lost his GPS, his God positioning system. He has made so many mistakes up until that point that you're just seeing the outcome of it. And again, I believe a lot of these things could be rectified if the family unit placed God first. One thing our church wanted to do when we came back into Rexdale, when we started, we wanted to make sure that the community understood that we are there for them. We're not speaking about religion. We're not speaking about prosperity gospel or making our name great. We're honestly just giving the word of God in a way that they can look at any one of us and say, this is what the word of God says. Now you can incorporate it in your life.
Okay. Well, so what we're going to do right now is that we have two artists, Yami Bolo and Capleton, who actually brought it upon themselves that they're going to do something for the community. So they made a song about what's happening with violence and guns. So we're going to take in that video right now, which is Yami Bolo and Capleton for all the fans out there. And don't forget, Royal Youth, Thursday, March 28th in London, and he's in the studio. So but right now we'll go to Yami Bolo and Capleton. Thank you.
Rastafari. Burn down the walls of Babylon and them evil conceptions. Things that says the Almighty One. This is more than just. Touch man, gonna give you more. Said I know that the time will come when all evil man got to run. Why did you shoot your brother down and leave him lying on the ground? Down your weapon, your weapon of destruction. Really? Put down your weapon of destruction. Just a long time we demand them and they never want to listen. Can't miss the man but get the blessing. And a long time we demand them and they never want to hear. This big man you disappear. Babylon them run. Why did you shoot your brother down and leave him lying on the ground? Put down your weapon, weapon of destruction. Your man said, put down your weapon of destruction. Well, a long time we demand them and they never want to listen. Can't this the man go get the blessing? And a long time we demand them and they never want you. This mean the man go disappear. Babylon them get free. Me whole ancestors Babylon enslaved. And the warrior them a try to get scared. That's why judges when they get to you them the same. That's the man self-reliance that mean we self-made. So when we say we Babylon wouldn't hurt, we judgment them come and them raise a blade. Judgment them food stamp and them first aid. Judgment them mark and judgment them curve. Who want the hunger? Who want the blood? Empire Selassie I'm a praise. Long time we demand them and they never want to listen. Yeah, this the man go get the blessing. And a long time we demand them, they never want you. This ball I see disappear. Now boy, said I know that the time will come. All Babylon man got to run now. Why did you shoot the youth man down and leave him lying on the ground? Put down your weapon, weapon of destruction. Oh, put down your weapon of destruction. Babylon them off his place. Judgment day pastor in on the church. The people them a band down them mice in on the church. Watch the pastor on the pulpit up them first. You miss a doctor, you miss his nurse. Yes, more for action, no more question first. You miss a man, no we are drive the big earth. Conspiracy fi kill people for earth. God man, jungle man, hold on them feel your hurt. Southside.
Wowza. Roy Youth, there you have it. Two Rastas, two artists on stage conveying that message of anti-gun violence. What is Roy Youth's plan in his musical career and also as an advocate for the community and for the youths? Sir?
All right. Well, right now, as you said, we're starting up the Royal Youth Foundation for the youths to empower the mind of the youth through musical arts and stuff like that. Music, arts, dancing, the whole multimedia. You know, sports also, you know. So we're trying to encourage the youths to do things that they like to do, you know, like, you know, those stuff instead of more positive things, you know. Yeah, but I wanted to get back to show how my theory on how these kids get into the violence, you know, being with the single mother and the broken home and stuff like that. So I'm just thinking that when mommy is gone to do a double shift and stuff like that, and the devil has plans for Iger Hands, her son starts being companies with other people who have other same thing in common with him, with no father present, or mom's not present also, you know, so they're facing the same struggle, and that's where the gangs come in. They have things in common, you know, and then they probably look up to a next older or elder that's probably been in trouble before, have a record. So this guy's a mentor to them, so that's how they get into the system.
So you're saying mentorship in the community.
So I'm thinking that these guys are who we call OGs in the streets, who've been through it, you know, like such as yourself, such as the Reverend, who seen stuff in his community, you know, come back and demonstrate to the kids and show them, like, you know what, this is not the way to go. And are they seeing these so-called gangsters and OGs showing them something positive, you know? So their mentor is showing us something positive now and say, okay, there's a next way out. Because in these slums, you know, in these communities, like, with a lot of the kids, the only thing they see is guns and drugs.
I think you would be a good mentor.
Some of them, you know?
I mean, I might be a little biased, but I know you personally, and I know what you stand for, and I hear it in your music. And that was my message also. For example, Hugh, I was watching, I think it was like 60 Minutes or a criminal justice thing, and they had this place called Charlestown, which is basically a square mile. But the fact is that Charlestown has the most bank robberies and armored car heists in per capita. So the guy said, well, listen, if I knew dentists, I'd be pulling teeth today. I wouldn't be robbing armored trucks. So that's my message also, that we need to empower the youth and occupy their time. Like, for example, if I said, okay, today's Sunday, where's Reverend Wayne? Oh, he's at church. I got to go see Reverend Wayne. But if I got a call from my other colleagues, you might say, yo, Johnny Smash, you know, somebody just got shot down on the Jane Strip or whatever. Well, you know what? I figured that because you're on the Jane Strip, and maybe, not to say Jane in particular, but I'm just saying for example, right? Because I live on the Jane. And here's Reverend Wayne, and he's in church. So I agree with you, Roy, that they need more positive role models, and they need to get their mind and their thoughts away from things. And that's why I say shame, 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 shame on this community, because we all like to talk about it, but we're not about it. So I'm just trying to empower the youth by saying, look, here's Johnny Smash. I'm event coordinator. Do you want to be an event coordinator? Do you like music? Come aboard. We have time for you, because we don't want your time to be absorbed by gunslingers and drug dealers. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So, Reverend Wayne, also, you have your church out there. You guys do a little basketball program, is that for sure?
Yeah, we do. We run what is called Hopes Are High, Umoja Kuma Basketball, Umoja Kuma Swahili for Unity Creativity. We've been running that program for years. And quick story, the genesis behind that program is that we got some of our young drug dealers from Mount Olive to promote our clothing company.
Right.
We used to put them in tournaments, and they used to win. And I said, man, forget selling drugs. We can win basketball. So we actually transitioned and we played basketball. This is in '93.
Right.
And it just grew ever since. It's amazing, though. Having these guys in the gym on Sundays, we can have like 60, 70 guys inside the gym out as opposed to outside on the street. Because it's key with what you're saying about having mentors. Because I remember coming up, you had a lot of influence on my generation. Right. Because we would sit with you, Johnny Smash, before you were Johnny Smash, and you would just tell us things that we had no idea. It was like, that's real? That really happens? And we would look up to you, and we would follow you and do those kind of things. So if we had a community full of men and women that knew what they were doing and that were doing something positive, and I'm not speaking about just having doctors and lawyers, those are great, but we're telling children, look at your teachers. Look at what they had to do to become a teacher. Right. You know, they set a goal, they graduated, they're successful. People that are just positive, we need tons of those. So I'm in agreement with that. That would make a big difference.
Yes, excellent. And that's what the message I was trying to say to the people. However, a lot of people like to talk the talk and don't walk the walk. But I shall not get into that. What we should get into is that we're about to wrap this up. We have 2 more songs to play. But we're going to give a shout-out to Roy Youth. He's opening it for Conscious.
Of course, we got to have the shout-out, Johnny Smash.
And a couple of shows that we're hosting, because on March 30th, Saturday, Epic Lounge, I'm hosting Project 911, Healing the City, and that's brought to you by Mad Links. It's at 1355 St. Clair West, Lansdowne. And it's an anti-violence show, and it's a reggae smorgasbord with Fire Kid Steenie, Mike Stone, a lot of other acts there. And then on the 31st, we have Swash International. And for those who don't know, Swash is one of the major sounds, foundation sound in Jamaica. And Royal Youth will be on that show. And that's at 303 Augusta Avenue in Kensington Market. Back again in Kensington Market, April the 6th for Catch a Fire with King Yuja, and brought to you by Deep Blair Promotions, which is a monthly showcase. So we're out here in the community. And so we're going to take in this song here by Sizzler, and also Roy Youth's Love We Need. And don't forget,
we're going to put all the links to all that stuff, Johnny Smash, because that's a lot to take in. We'll put the links up in the credits, so people stay tuned while we watch these videos.
There you go.
Can I ask one last question?
Yes, sir.
Just before we go out to the videos,
yes,
I want to ask the Reverend Wayne, I don't know how things are out there, Reverend Wayne, but there's a lot of the youth that are involved in gangs and drugs and all that kind of stuff. If they're not, maybe they're not all too receptive to the message of the church, the Christian message, well, what would you tell those people?
Well, they're not always. They don't want to hear it for one reason or another. But I think what makes it work for us is that we're authentic. I could tell them my story, where I came from, the schools that I attended, the neighborhood that they live in, I live, still work there, and just let them know there's hope. There is hope. There's hope for them. They can make it. And there are people that really care about that, no strings attached. Because I got to add this, sometimes you have great people that have great ideas, and they put in what I call a parachute program. So they will throw in, $50,000, not last a year or whatnot, but then it goes. But what we try to tell them that is that we're here for them for life. We'll walk with them. We become the life coach, and then just encourage them to do the basics. That whatever you have to do, you need your education. So it's something that you have to plug into, because in this country, if you're uneducated and you got pigmentation like me, you are in trouble. That's what we say, more or less.
Okay, well, listen, thank you for coming on the show today. And also, Royal Youth, thanks for, great to see you again. Thanks. Hope to have you back again sometime soon. And Johnny Smash, thanks for setting this all up.
Well, there you go. It was for my community. As everybody knows, Johnny Smash has 7 kids, and they're all getting older, so I must be a positive role model to my children. And I'm also in the public eye, so I can't talk the talk and not walk the walk. Now, can I, Hugh?
No, you can't, Johnny Smash.
There you go.
High five to that.
There you go.
All right.
High five to Royal Youth. Love we need
High
on
five.
Caribbean Vibrations right now. Check it out every Saturday. He's in rotation.
And we're going to give a high five to the Reverend.
It's a long high five.
It's a long high five. Okay, so here's the videos. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We're going to give contact credits to the Reverend and to Royal Youth and to Johnny Smash, everything he said. That's it for the show. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time here on ThatChannel.com.
Freddie, famous. I just love we need, we need a more love. Coming like a showers of blessings from above, and we no wanna greed. So put away your gun, no need for the grudge, God bless the love, it is a must. I just love we need a more love. Coming like a showers of blessings from above, and we no wanna greed. So put away your guns, no need for the grudge, God bless the love, it is a. I just love and happiness, where the bobo manifest. Teaching you them cleanliness, and know we pray and do them best. Treading in the valley of the shadow of death, with wicked man I dig them pit and evil man I send check. But never will I fear, and never will I fret, when the bobo you think treading through this generation next. Yo, where them a go doing a this a generation next. When me burn them robots and cyborgs and surrogates, you better change your dirty ways, you better watch your dirty flex. Can't me them are impressed with them corrupted Congress. I just love and righteousness away the biggie you profess. Get to you, just watch your ways and step away from filthiness. I just love we need a more love. Coming like a showers of blessings from above, and we no wanna greed. So put away your guns, no need for the grudge, God bless it, love it is a must. I just love we need a more love. Coming like a showers of blessings from above, and we no wanna greed. So put away your guns, no need for the grudge, God bless it, love it is a must, yo. Get a youth, just hold the faith and go and try this shit. Enough of them in a them pretty suit, them a fake. Mama in a the kitchen, toto a bake. Jabbles the little and the much, Rasta ever great. I just want this if you want, figure choose Iron Gate. Rasta ever tell them that love conquer hate. No care what them a try, and them a infiltrate. Get a youth, no matter make them string you up. I just love we need a more love. Coming like a showers of blessings from above, and we no wanna greed. So put away your guns, no need for the gush. God bless it, love it is a must. I just love we need a more love. Coming like a showers of blessings from above, and we no wanna greed. So put away your guns, no need for the gush. I just blessings from above. I just love we need a more love. Coming like a showers of blessings from above, and we no wanna greed. So put away your guns, no need for the gush. God bless it, love it is a. I just love and happiness, where the bobo manifest. Teaching you them cleanliness, and know we pray and do them best. Treading in a the valley of the shadow of death, with wicked man I dig them pit and evil man I send check. But never will I fear, and never will I fret, when the bobo man him treading through this generation next. Yo, where them a go doing a this a generation next. When me burn them robots and cyborgs and surrogates, you better change your dirty ways, you better watch your dirty flex. Can't me them are impressed with them corrupted Congress. I just love and righteousness where the bobo manifest. Get to you, just watch your ways and step away from filthiness. Love is the way, all things takes time. When you thought I wasn't there yet, I'll always be right by your side. Oh, baby, my love is so kind. When you thought I wasn't there yet, I'll always be right by your side. I never let you go. Your smile, your style, it please me so. Open up your eyes and live today. Love is so precise.
precious, so let it go slip away. I'll be there for you. That's what I say. Now you gray skies blue, blessing come to stay. It's reality. You love someone, love humanity, and just no one. You've sown a seed. God bless the shout. I know the three ground. Love is the way. All things take time. When you thought I wasn't there, always be right by your side. Oh, baby, my love is so kind. When you thought I wasn't there, always be right by your side. I never let you go. Your smile, your style, it pleased me so. Oh, baby, my love is so kind. When you thought I wasn't there, always be right by your side. Love is the way. All things take time. When you thought I wasn't there, always be right by your side. Never turn from the way that you choose. Just pray and you know the blessing come through. If we should fight, hey, one another, that's rude. And if we separate, that's not good. I never let you go, girl. Your smile, your style, it pleases me so. I never let you go. Your eyes, your smile, it pleases me so. Love is the way. All things take time. When you thought I wasn't there, I always be right by your side. Whoa, baby, my love is so kind. When you thought I wasn't there, always be right by your side. Open up your eyes and live today. Love is so precious, don't let it go slip away. I'll be there for you. That's what I say. Oh, you gray skies blue, bless the states. Reality. You love someone, love humanity, and just no one. You've sown the seed. You bless the show. I know that we grow.